Hello, welcome back to the Trainlind Railroad Shops. Today we're going to be working on this athrean rubber band drive locomotive. I'm going to be changing all the bands. One of them broke, so I'm just going to change all of them right away. I've already got the shell off, so I'm going to take that band off. That truck's ready to come out. I'm going to do this one truck at a time. This isn't too complicated. You just have to make sure that you put everything back together right. Okay, so truck's now free of the frame, so I've set the frame aside. So here you've got your athrean rubber band drive truck. There's two screws. One of them has the and they are on the insulated side of the truck. So this piece goes on top. If you're doing this yourself, so when you're doing this, you do not want to stretch out the bands. Be very careful, because you're going to need that tension later. And I do not believe it matters which way you put in your axle, just as long as you put your truck back together correctly. So now I'm going to put back together the truck. This part is kind of difficult because you gotta line up the holes for the bearings. I'm not adding any lubricant to those bearings because I didn't wipe those dry at all. So if those bearings are dry or don't have a lubricant of some sort in there, you may want to lubricate the bearings where the axle is going to attract. Those are also your pickups, so do be aware. Use something at least kind of conductive. Alright, so that truck's put together. Got two bands on it. I'm going to set that aside. Bring the frame back in here and get the other truck off. And if for the inside bands, gently pull on the drive shaft. This only applies for the 4-axle ones. I'm going to slip that back on there. I'm actually going to quickly put this truck back on. And I think I'm going to flop it around a bit and put it wired positive on the fireman's side. I think it'll be positive. So you're going to screw that in. Yeah. Okay, yeah, because the screw threads into the... Don't mind me, I'm doubting myself here. And when you put that on, you're going to want to make sure that your wires aren't all shoved up in weird places. I'm going to take off the rear truck now. Set the frame aside. Don't worry if your truck... If you find one of these without bands and the trucks are all loose and floppy, it just needs bands. The bands are what holds the truck up into the locomotive. So here we're going to do it again. Take out this screw. That one's already taken out. take the old band off. Take the old band off. The bands I'm using are some dollar store. You can find the actual rubber bands on eBay or other places on the internet. Rainbow loom bands, if you don't stretch them out, they might work. Kind of iffy there. Then we're going to put that back together. Make sure that everything's seated correctly. Tighten the screw back up. So I'm going to bring back the frame. I need to make sure that the wired side is going to the same side of the rails. And one of the cool parts about being able to just I don't have to stick my screwdriver in some weird hole. Now we put that back on the pin. So we've got the bands around the axles. Gently pull out on these drive shafts and use something to bring that up. Make sure that I'm going to start with front over the engineer's side. So where it's coming up from the front of the axle, around the engineer's side. So with the center axles, you might need to use tweezers or pliers to get the band because that hole is a bit smaller. Gonna see if I can grab this here. So I'm taking the front over the engineer's side. I may need to change this in future when I do the test run. Okay, and then we slip that back on. Then we do the other end. So, outer trucks, nice and easy. They've got that big hole. pull it up, go around, slip it on. That is everything you need to do to change rubber band. I'm going to quickly plug in my controller and test to make sure that that is in fact the correct way for it to be going. I'm not going to show this step because I don't feel like moving my tripod. Right now I've got my... Okay. I've got it going the wrong way. So what we're going to do, if yours is going the wrong way, you can either flip the trucks around or, even easier, rotate the rubber bands around. So now I've got the leading edge going over the fireman's side. When I turn it, you can see that those, so you got to make sure all your rubber bands are going the same way, otherwise you're going to end up with the locomotive fighting itself. Okay, make sure it's still working. There we go. You may hear some other noise. That's all for this video. When you're done, put your shell on. Make sure your wires aren't interfering with your drive shafts anywhere. To get in, just gently pull the sides apart. So, there you go. That's all for this episode of the Trainlind Railroad Shops. Make sure to tune in next time, and if you're not subscribed already, go subscribe.